So, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. And like I said, I was anxious to get on today's call because, as thrilling as it is at home right now with the arrival of our little baby, I wanted to connect because it's come right off the back of the end of the year of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. And this is typically a really critical time, as you're probably experiencing, for businesses to understand, and business owners, which each of us are. It's important for us to understand how to kick off, how to move forward, and how to make the most of the 12 months ahead. So I wanted to touch upon that a little bit today. I wanted to refer as well to some of the notes that I made at the GoPro event that took place mid-December, because some of the points that I want to highlight today certainly align with the activities that we're finding are being introduced into NECAN for 2021, especially around the waterfall incentive. I want to touch upon that just a little bit and also acknowledge Ruth Lowe's wonderful presentation on how that works. I would encourage everyone to check that out and to utilize that as a great training and resource, along with the posts that NECAN has been sharing in financial opportunities that come with that incentive. They're in the WhatsApp groups. If you haven't seen them yet, be sure to connect. If you're not in any of the WhatsApp groups, connect to them. This is really important that as a part of our plan moving forward, we're all connected in the right teams and environments and spaces in WhatsApp so that we can get all of the information at the right time to move forward. I wanted to touch on something specifically that was said at the GoPro event. And as I do this, I want you to have in the back of your mind, what is your vision for 2021? It's interesting, I find, that so many people were anxious to turn their back on 2020 and to start a fresh new year with 2021. I think what's interesting here is what we'll find is many of the challenges that we were facing in 2020 are rolling over into 2021. So we need to look now with the value of hindsight in regards to what am I going to do differently for this coming year. What we do know for sure, and I've said this plenty of times, is that in business and in life, we are always going into or coming out of a crisis. That seems to be the cycle of life, doesn't it? That there is always challenge and opposition to our vision, to our strategies, to our goals, to our aspirations. We'll have bursts of thrill and achievement, and we'll have bursts of barriers, roadblocks, and hindrances to our mission along the way. And we're constantly having to battle and fight these two these two scenarios, this kind of yin and yang, so to speak, of opposition, this pull and push scenario in regards to our goals and aspirations. So for this year, as we look forward, I want to start with just a couple of things that we can do to make sure that our mindset is in the right place. And so much, and I think this is really critical. And again, I want to refer back to countless times that my good friend Mike has said over and over again about the value of aligning our energy, our mission, our cause, our beliefs, our convictions, our decisions, our commitments to what is right. And then what we find is when we do that, what happens? We start to attract different outcomes in our lives. So much of what we achieve is down to the energy and influence that we project. So to start out with, going into 2021, what is it and critical as a starting point for us and moving forward? The first thing I believe that we need to have, if we haven't done it yet, and I hope we have, but it's not too late to start because we're in the first half of January, is to have a personal vision statement. One thing that I saw that I thought was particularly unique, many of us write it down, don't we? If we're going to have a vision, we write it down. And it's been said plenty of times, a goal is only a wish if it isn't written down. But here's a new take on writing down your vision statements. why don't you pull your phone out and do a vision selfie? There's nothing more confrontational, is there, than looking yourself in the mirror and finding yourself looking back, telling you what you said you were going to do. So perhaps at the beginning of the year, my first invitation to you is to pull out your phones and record yourself giving your future self a message. What are you going to do in 2021? What are you going to strive to become? It may feel a little uncomfortable and a little uneasy for some, but I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone. I think this is a great thing to do. And at the end of each month, have a review of it. Am I getting closer to that vision? Am I becoming more of that person, or am I moving away from it? We want to make sure that we're staying in line. So rather than simply have a written vision statement, why don't we have a visual one of us talking to ourselves? Pull out your phone, record a message to your future self, and let your future self know what that vision is. Be honest, be candid, be optimistic. What do you expect to see in 2021 happening for you? So that's, first of all, like I said, a personal transformation vision and a business transformation vision in regards to your achievements, I think would be something very exciting to do in the form of a selfie video. So that's step number one. The next thing you want to do once you've done that, and that is clear, and again, we all know that the more clear it is, the more specific it is, the more attainable it's going to be. Okay, so we want to make sure that we do that with as much specificity as possible. Mrs. Kramer is also saying we can also do that on our own Zoom accounts. That's right. Yeah. So if you don't have a smartphone, for example, if you're dialing in using Zoom, then yes, you can actually record yourself on Zoom. You're the only one in the meeting, deliver your message, play it back, and it's a great place. And then store it somewhere visible where you can watch it on a regular basis. I think that's great. Thank you for that, Mrs. Kramer. The next thing to do, and this is something that I've already done, is find an accountability partner. Mike and I have teamed up on this and made ourselves accountable to each other. This is critical if we want to be serious about our success. No one can do it alone. I don't think there is anyone in Nikan or in any other area of life or in business that has achieved anything of significance that hasn't felt a strong degree of accountability to someone, and in a public and deliberate way. I think that's really important. And along with that accountability, so we've got, this person can play two roles. You can have the person as an accountability partner, but another thing, and this was something that Eric Worre pointed out, and it struck me extra keenly when he pointed it out, because he made it very personal with his own experience, is to have a coach. He said that in every facet of his life where he's wanting to succeed, he has a coach. I saw that in some of his posts when he was getting into shape over the last couple of years. He was, showing us, when he was going on runs and walks and what have you in his neighborhood. He had a coach working with him on his fitness goals, on his business goals. He has a coach. Even someone that's making tens of millions of dollars, he's got a coach. So I want you to look at who is there that I know, or that I don't know yet, but I want their influence in my life. And a coach can come in multiple forms. They can come in the form of being directly engaged with us on a weekly or monthly basis, or they can be an informal coach through the form of books, podcasts, videos, audios, and community groups. So that's something to consider as well. We can get very creative in getting that influence of other people into our lives, but that's stuff we need to make sure we're doing. So moving on from an accountability partner, we've got our vision board or our vision statement put into the form of a video so that we're talking to ourselves and holding ourselves accountable. We find an accountability partner, we get a coach as well, and then we also commit to a community. The one thing that I love about this, of course, we have that community right here with Nikan, don't we? We've got to belong to an environment, a space that is more important than ourselves. And we have that with the Niken vision, the Niken goals. But we've got to make sure that within that community, we feel that we're a contributing important part. As you look at the Niken community that we're in now, how do you see your role presently? Do you see yourself as an important contributor? Do you see yourself as someone that is receiving a lot of value, but only receiving it and not contributing value? Or do you see yourself as one that contributes and receives? I think it's important that we recognize the role that we play as contributors to the community. We don't want to just receive value. We want to make sure that we add value too. Now, I need to say on a personal note, everyone that I get to connect with in Niken, when I'm doing ABCs and 3-ways, when I'm doing coaching calls, even when I'm in the role of being the coach to someone else, I get great value out of that experience. And that opportunity to serve others enriches me. So please understand, when you ask for help, when you reach out, when you look for ways to connect with others, that very process of seeking support actually enriches the collective and the community as well. So my point there is, please don't be shy going into 2021 with the need to ask for help. Don't think that this is all about, oh, I'm just getting help and support for me. What am I giving? Understand, when you get help, you're in the very act of giving it, because it's a reciprocal journey. It's a reciprocal process. We are strengthened when we strengthen others, aren't we? So ask for help, get that advice, team up, partner up, make the most of the community, and recognize that in doing that, you will be adding value to the collective. The last point here is really important, and then I want to move on to the role of systems in our plans for this year. And this last point is important because we're having a rollover effect here, aren't we, with the pandemic in 2021. A lot of people were overwhelmed with the lockdowns, the quarantining, the social distancing, the isolating, all that kind of thing. And it influenced different people in different ways. My family and I have been very fortunate, having such a large family, being insular and locked down. It actually kind of made things a little more noisy and chaotic versus isolating and kind of socially distanced. But for many, they were alone and they were separated from loved ones and from teammates and so on. How do we manage that moving forward? Because we're seeing that this pandemic is certainly going to be leading a large chunk of 2021 as well. What do we do with this? One of the critical points that we've got to do is find ways to inject fun into our business. Fun isn't just something that is nice to have. It's something that we must have for emotional and mental health. We have that as a fundamental pillar in our 5 pillars of wellness for a reason. We need to have strong emotional and mental health to be resilient and to thrive. And in order to have that, we need to make sure that we inject fun and lightheartedness and enjoyment into our lives. We've got some restrictions right now in the way that we live, but critically, with a little bit of creativity, we can find ways to connect with long distance, with technology, and do things in a different way. So I want you to put your thinking caps on and maybe even share in the chat right now if you've got any ideas that you've applied over the past few months that have worked well for you, that have made life and business fun. Throw it in the chat, because I think this is, of all the things, something that is really important to share for others. So I know I was on a group chat at the end of the year with one of my Latin teams. I think I mentioned this on one of my calls, where they had a team dinner. They couldn't get together for the team dinner because of quarantining and social distancing and restaurants being closed and what have you. So what they did was, one of them made up a big batch of meals, delivered them to all the teammates that lived in close proximity, Others that weren't in close proximity used the equivalent of Postmates or Grubhub or something to that effect. And they all sat down, they had their recognition event, and then they all sat down and had a meal together over Zoom. And they chatted, they ate, and they talked, and they laughed. They toasted each other with their glass of wine, and they had an experience together. And I thought that was really clever. So let's look at ways where we can connect and have those ways. Again, I need to take my hat off on that point to the Ladies Leading Ladies platform that always does a great job of being creative and doing things like that. They always have a toast. They'll have a creative hat to wear and something like that. And they always make sure that that community is having fun. So let's make sure that we have fun along the way. We've got some comments coming in here. Mary Bowser said, Barb Satterwhite's Crossline team has fun every week, producing 2 Zooms for the community. Excellent. So getting creative in the content of our Zooms, I think, is also good. The way that we deliver them, I think we need to look at exploring and getting more creative there as well. So certainly some fun things to do. Let's look at ways to have fun, to create that community, have a daily walk. Jeannie is saying we have a daily walk or hike. Oh, they're coming fast here. With our pup. Finding a joke to post on Facebook has also been fun. Yeah, so people are putting more lighthearted, more upbeat comments on social media. I think that's really good as well. Our team has had fun Zooms. Barb's saying twice a week, had our holiday party over Zoom. Excellent. Barb Bertucci saying Barb Satterwhite's group has a great open gathering. This is getting a lot of positive feedback here, Barb, which is great. Wellness home today at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Friday night, happy hydration hour at 7:30 p.m. Eastern as well. That's half an hour. So these are some great times and great activities. So holiday Zoom parties, open wellness parties as well, and gatherings. I like this. Positive, upbeat messages online. We certainly need a lot of that right now, considering the environment that we're in presently. Book clubs. Mrs. Kramer is, oh, hang on, I've got a couple more. Michelle has said, I met with a customer yesterday at a park. We respected the social distancing regulations and sat on separate picnic tables with a hot chocolate. It boosted her and my mental well-being. It was cold, I bet it was, and it was windy, but it was fun. It was just 15 minutes. I like that. Mrs. Kramer learned to use a number of social media platforms other than WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I think that's good. That's a good point, Mrs. Kramer. I know there are a couple of others that are popping up as becoming more popular as well. So I think it's good to be aware of the different platforms that are available to connect. Lorraine has said, I've joined a book reading club and am now compiling my mother's story into a book for her 5-generation future descendants. I get that. I'm getting inspirational from these Zooms and post gratitude every day on Facebook. This is great. Anticipate a fun segment in the upcoming Master Day schedule. That's Mary Bowser there. So that's good. We've got the Master Days coming up, and yes, we want to make sure they're fun. So it's great to see all of these things that are happening right now where people are looking to get creative, inventive, imaginative. Let those juices flow. Really, really good to do. So I want to finish now on a critical point. As we get creative, keep all of these things in mind. Let's just have a quick summary of what I've talked about so far. We want to have a clear and compelling and specific vision of what we want to become and achieve in our businesses for 2021. It's a personal and business transformation vision. We want to write it down, but we also want to get creative and do a video selfie of that vision to ourselves, so that we can have ourselves looking in the mirror and holding ourselves accountable for what we want to become. I think that's a great concept. Number 2, we want to have an accountability partner and find a coach. Really critical. That can be a subdivision of the first one, an accountability partner and a coach. We also want to make sure that we commit to being a part of the community, an active part of the community. And that means that we're asking for help and we're contributing. We want to make sure that we're all participating in a meaningful way. Yeah. And then finally, we want to make sure that what we're doing is fun. If it's not fun, people won't want to participate, right? We won't want to get, other people won't want to get as involved if they're not going to be enjoying themselves. It's interesting, you know, in times of stress and worry, and in an economic crisis, as a side note, and I think we're going to be facing some significant economic turbulence in 2021. I think Nikan is in a wonderfully secure spot, given the industry that we're in. But other industries are being shaken to the core. But what's interesting is the sin industries seem to spike during economic crisis. Isn't that interesting? And when I say the sin industries, they're referred to as the sin industries, you know, the gambling, smoking, the alcoholic industry, beverages and what have you, all of these types of industries. People start to drink more, smoke more, and gamble more when a crisis hits economically. You'd think that they would curb back their spending in places where it's not necessary. Focus on the important and not the pleasurable. But people turn to pleasure when they're trying to escape pain, don't they? And as a result, we see those industries thrive. So what does that say? What it tells us is when people are under a high degree of stress, they need to find happiness and satisfaction. Many people go the wrong route, which is a tragedy, and they turn to places that they shouldn't. But if we can provide them a business opportunity that gives them peace of mind and meets their needs, and at the same time is fun as well as rewarding, then we'll find they'll start to enjoy themselves, engage, and be more interested. So what are the critical things we want them to do? Eric Worre mentioned this. He said, in order for systems in our industry, in our business to be effective, they need to have 4 elements. They need to have a customer acquisition element, a customer onboarding element, a distributor acquisition element, and a distributor onboarding element. And it needs to be so simple that anyone that looks at it can go, this looks simple, I think it will work, and I think I can do it. If they can say that, it looks simple, looks like it'll work, and it looks like I can do it, then we've got something that we can work with. Now, this waterfall promotion that we have, that Luis Kasuga has introduced, one of the first initiatives of him as CEO, I think is an outstanding and critical way for us to invite people to get on board, engage with us, and participate in a way that can really help them generate meaningful income in their business. Now, what do we mean by this? First of all, I want to emphasize something that's really important with this. It's focused initially on the direct, the executive, and the silver in improving and increasing their income. And they can get up to $669 as a result of selling 4 waterfall units in a month if they're a silver. That's a great income for someone that's at the silver rank, when remember, the silver rank is only produced 6,000 points over a 3-month period. That's what gets them to the silver in regards to their OV. But this incentive is important for the execs, the directs, the execs, and the silvers for a critical reason. All of the businesses that thrive in direct selling that I've seen that really have a strong growth curve, when they're not at a new market launch phase or some particular market phase, but when they're a mature business. When they're a mature business, the reason that they have experienced continued growth, one of them is they have some type of accelerant factor at the front end of the compensation plan. An aspect of the business that is a fast start program, an accelerant feature, or something that rewards people that are new in the business to get moving fast. So we may have someone that's a platinum that is currently paid as a silver, that is going, well, why don't I get to participate in this? Why is this not something that I'm getting to enjoy right now? We've got to look at this as the fast start program for brand new consultants. This is really, really important. And if we, once they move beyond that, hopefully they're at a space where they're getting other people into their business that are making full use of those incentives. I don't expect that Mr. Kasuga was expecting everyone to sell 4 waterfalls a month on an ongoing basis for their retail activity and engagement. This is something that is really designed to be a strong, fast start program. So as you look at your vision and your goals, what we need to recognize is that program there for the waterfalls will thrive and prosper commensurate to our commitment to find, engage, and retain new people in our business. So if you want to see that really having success and getting roots in your organization, then it's not just about being a direct, an executive or a silver and getting the money, the retail profits and the bonus for it. It's also for getting others into the business, connecting with that activity and helping them get started with strength. This is a powerful tool to help us get volume and income into the hands of the front brand new people, and also get the structure, the organization, the mindset right for the team collectively. It gives a very clear focus for everyone. It's nice and simple. Is it simple? Yes, it is. Does it seem easy and straightforward to do? Yes, it does. Do people that are brand new, do they think that they can do it? I would expect, yes, this is quite straightforward for them to understand what is required and what they get in return. And the great thing is we've got the incomes all laid out for what they can achieve and earn as they go through getting 2, 3, or 4 of these waterfalls sold in any given month. And the great thing is they have replacement filters coming in on a regular basis, moving thereafter. So as we close today, I just want to say, let's have that clear vision of what we want to achieve. Let's go after it. Let's get an accountability partner. Let's focus ourselves in applying ourselves, our business, our teams to the incentives and the programs that Nikken has put in place, connect strongly and contribute and participate in the communities that Nikken has available for us so that we can make the very best of every tool, every resource that is available to us to get the most out of this business. Let's not leave money on the table. Let's not leave opportunity on the table. And let's not leave people out in the cold when this year, perhaps even more than last year, people need something to go to turn to participate in and be a part of. I think for many, this year may be a little tougher than 2020 because they've got a little bit of pandemic fatigue, a little bit of Zoom fatigue, a little bit of social distancing fatigue, face mask wearing fatigue, and yet it continues. Numbers increase and restrictions continue to be lengthened out. So let's just do it. Jeannie just said, I just heard a joke about the waterfall, but it was a poor joke. I like that, Jeannie, wonderful. It's great to be sharing the lighthearted messages. We've got so much to look forward to in 2021. We had some record growth in 2020 for Nikken, which was fantastic. We finished the year strong. We've got new leadership at the helm. We've got new incentives in place. We've got new IT infrastructures on their way. We've got a new schedule and calendar of events booked in and planned out for all of us. We've got a lot to engage in and participate in. We are blessed beyond measure. Let's show our gratitude, show our thanks by getting engaged and getting the new people in, connecting them with these incentives. Like I said, that waterfall incentive is designed for brand new people and those first critical months to put strong money in their pocket as soon as possible. Get them doing the right activity, help them to get others doing the same. And in the meantime, you're building the volume and the organization with a clear focus and a clear sense of the right type of culture of what your business is all about. That's a great way to build a strong, compelling business. And we've got the evidence that it works represented in Latin America. They've been doing this for a few years now, and look at the growth that we're experiencing there. Incredible growth. So thank you all very much. I love you lots. It's great to be with you. I'm going to jump back to my little one and let my wife get some rest now. So I'll be back engaged in full force next week, but I wanted to connect on this call today because I didn't want to have too much time where I hadn't seen you. I've missed you and I love you. And I'm grateful to be a part of this community and to be a part of this network because it just means so much to Kim and I, what Nikan has done for us, for our family, and for what each of you do for us and for our family. These friendships and these associations mean everything. And we want to keep them strong and we want to stay connected. So thank you all very much. Have a great week and we'll speak to you real soon.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Congratulations on the baby.
Love to all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.